Hey guys, so recently I went through the most challenging and productive periods of my life. I committed myself to a 100-day writing challenge where I was able to create 100 different texts all around self-development topics. And although this challenge was supposed to make me a better writer, I feel that I also learned a lot about productivity. And more than tactics, today I'm going to show you the principles that dictated this challenge, which allow me to produce quality content on a consistent pace. And to be honest, I didn't really expect that good of a results before I started the challenge, but it turns out that it had a lot of intrinsic characteristics that made me produce so much. So let me describe the challenge and what I had to do on a daily basis to complete the task. So the challenge required me to write a text every single day for 100 days straight about my favorite topic of the day. So because I'm really into self-development, productivity, performance, creativity, I would write about that. It needed to be different every single day, and I also needed to post it online. So during 100 days straight, I needed to do that, and at the end, the challenge was complete. So now, summarizing that, it was basically a public daily challenge, and we're now gonna dig deep into the specifics, and we're gonna extract the principles so that then we can apply them to our productivity routines. In the past, I committed myself to creating content on a weekly basis. But it turns out that I would just procrastinate until the end of the week to start working on the content. I think my intentions were good, scheduling something, but I think it was executed poorly. With this challenge, I understood the power of making it a daily activity. It just makes it impossible to forget that you have to do it, and eventually becomes part of your internal conversation and also a habit. My daily commute, for example, turned into brainstorming sessions to find out the topic of the day, and my evenings turned into a battle against sleep and procrastination. Being limited in time is also a great catalyst for productivity, at least for me. I don't know if you're aware of the Parkinson's law, which means that the amount of time that takes to conclude a task will expand to fit the available time. Means that if you have 2 days to make a video, it will take 2 days, although that probably you can do it in 5 hours, for example. So because I only had a few hours in the evenings to do these texts, I would take great advantage of that limited amount of time. Besides being a daily challenge, the outcome of the day was pretty clear. I needed to write and post my daily thoughts of the day under a text. And as soon as I was done publishing that text, I knew that the task of the day was complete. Because the daily goal was so clear, I think it allowed me to preview the amount of work and time necessary every single day to put in to get the outcome I wanted, and also anticipate the pleasure of concluding the daily challenge of the day and then moving on to other things feeling accomplished. As you might expect, some days are more difficult than others, especially if you're doing something for 100 days. There will be a bad day there, and being able to preview the amount of work necessary, it allowed me to push forward and going through those barriers much easier. If you commit yourself to do something, that commitment is just as good as your word to yourself. But it turns out that if you do this commitment to others, you will get it done no matter what. I was posting these texts on my Instagram page, and as soon as I realized that people were actually reading them, I stepped my game up. The fear of being judged by others and them seeing that I failed, it turns out to be a great motivator, although it was just in my head, because one day or two I failed, and the next day I quickly apologized and I posted 2 texts instead of 1, and no one really cared. It was just in my head, but enough for me to keep myself on my toes and keep producing. Which leads me to the practical side of this video. Although we don't need to go through the challenge to apply these principles, I think it's fun to apply the same constraints to our daily routines so that we can get the benefits that I did from doing this writing challenge. It might not be feasible to complete a task in just one day, so breaking it down into daily chunks will make it easy for you to just focus on one thing at a time and go deep into that specific topic without worrying about the rest of the project. This also makes you create a habit of just working on that specific project on a regular basis. So over time, if you look back, you will see tons of work, but you were just focusing on one thing at a time. I really had this feeling when I finished the challenge. I looked back after 100 days and I saw all these things that I wrote and all the ideas for videos, and it was just a great exercise to keep consistent and produce something every single day. The second would be creating a schedule, more specifically, amount of time during the day that you'll only be working on that to-do. And if you can make it so that it's the same time of the day, it's even better, because it turns out for my challenge that I could only write during the evenings, and I felt like my brain tended to go towards more focused during that time of the day, and now I tend to do it even though that I'm not doing the challenge anymore. So if you can make it consistent, it's even better, because you will be creating a habit. You can do this in many different ways, of course, but I usually use Todoist coupled with Google Calendars to keep track of all these chunks of time that I will be spending on different projects, and everything is organized and clear. The third one will be creating a metric so that you know exactly how successful you are. And this is huge, because during the challenge I knew that if I posted the text, I was successful for the day. But now that I'm just doing like regular work, I need to keep myself from falling into that trap of making goals too ambiguous and not knowing exactly when to finish. For example, to write the script for this video, I was using Pomodoros, so 25-minute chunks of time, and for each one I was tracking how many words I was writing. So this way, more or less, I find a metric to keep myself accountable for the next time I do the other Pomodoro. A good way to do this for other tasks, for example, is to estimate the amount of time you think you will need to conclude a task when you are doing the scheduling part. So if you think that it takes 1 hour to conclude an essay, for example, try to keep yourself to that 1 hour and then evaluate the results, and then try to make a better estimation for the next time. It might be a different essay, but you still have a better understanding of how long you usually take to do a specific amount of work. And finally, create accountability. And this might be already inside the to-do. For example, if you're doing something urgent, like a project for school or something for work, probably your boss or your teacher already gave you a deadline, so you have consequences if you don't deliver in that specific time. But if you are doing something for yourself, you work for yourself, I don't know, for example, me doing this video, you might need to create it for yourself, make it artificial, which is basically what I'm doing now. If I don't conclude this video that you are watching right now in 2 days, so today is Saturday, if I don't conclude it on Monday, I will lose 50 euros to an anti-charity. So I think I chose a charity that supports Brexit. So really focused on concluding this video right now. I don't want to give them my money. And this is with the application called Stick. So you can donate your money to a charity or an anti-charity. You can use a friend to be the referee and keep track of your progress. It's a very good application to create artificial accountability, and you will really get motivated, because if your money is on the line, you'll get it done. Trust me, you'll get it done.